That's right. That's my voice. We're back. I'll say Merry Christmas first and foremost.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
If you see this episode on your Spotify, on your Apple Podcast, on your Google
It
Podcast,
is not a
on
drill.
YouTube, it's not a drill.
We're back.
We're back for an episode just before Christmas to give you a present from us to you. You know, we've been gone like that absent father who has been gone for so long.
We went to get the milk, but lost our way.
And we came back just before Christmas. We said, "Hey, buddy, here we are. You've grown so tall.
Here's that milk."
I feel like a lot of people do that when their sons are like football stars. It's just like, by the way, I was just down the road. Like, I was always here.
Yeah, I've always been here.
Project Mbappe, it worked out.
Messi. If you listen to this, it's after the World Cup final and the GOAT has been established. Lionel Messi won the
the GOAT was already
Cup.
established, if we're being real, but...
And also, he didn't win, the team won.
Okay, whatever. This is a foolproof argument. There is nothing left to say. What are they going to say now?
No, this is not the direction we're going down. No.
So Aramide, where have you been?
Oh my God. Where have I been? I'm confident. I'm strong. I'm unfazed. So I have been a cog in the corporate wheel. In the corporate machine, they have worked me ragged, sanded down every edge, every bump. Yeah, so I've mainly been working. I don't remember last time we recorded, but I've been on holiday. I've turned 26. I'm learning how to drive. I don't know how much I should information to give.
I think the last time we recorded was May.
It was May, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been on 3 holidays since then.
7 months, 7 months.
Oh wow, it's been a long time. Yeah, so not much has changed. Just life is lifing. Not terribly exciting, unfortunately. But in this cost of living crisis, what can you do? Aside from stay at home and not try to ramp up the bills.
Or turn on your heating.
I mean, I live in a bills all included place, and this place is about 20 degrees at the moment. Yeah, I wake up and the radiator.
I hope Rishi takes away your place.
God forbid.
Whoa.
Rishi needs to speak to the ambulance people and the nurses and pay them what they're due. But as far as for me, at my house, I've got all the medicine I need. I've got friends that were driving to A&E. So I'm quite fortunate, thank God.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Anna, where have you been? We know you're in a different tax bracket now, jet setting around the world.
Just give us a crumb.
Where have I been? I've just been around. I've been living and crying. And
is this a cry for help?
She said
at the cameras.
Man. But I mean, I don't know about you guys, but 2020 was a very intense year. And yeah, so obviously June to December has been intense, but I've been privileged to have a job that I enjoy, so that is one of the pluses in life. But yeah.
That's right, y'all. Anna's done with uni. She's in the corporate life like the rest of us.
Yay! The tear. Now it's like, I only get 24, 25 days a year that I can do, nothing. Yeah. You can't step off that treadmill. You just have to continue till, I don't know, what's the retirement age now? 70?
67.
I used to think of.
By the time we get to that age, oh my God.
It's funny, because my coworker, he's in his 60s. And because it's now gone to 67, he now has to work to that age. And he was looking forward to that.
That's so sad.
Yeah. And I'm like, right, if he is going to be to 67, what are we going to be when we get there?
Because healthcare would have been improved vastly by then, so people be living longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think this government, they're gonna get the pound of flesh. They're gonna get their money's worth. They're gonna shunter all the old people to like the boroughs that no one wants to live in. Yeah, that's the plan for the future. So we have that to look forward to.
Yeah, retirement at 90.
Come on. We'll be doing the Ashake dance.
Whoa. Ashake is a sort of topic right now, actually. Okay.
Oh, really? I should say I'm not on Twitter at the moment to the listeners. So if anything's been happening, and I'm not on Instagram as well. So if anything's happening, I don't know.
I don't know, Anna. Should we tell her?
What happened? Let me Google it quickly.
A lot has happened,
A
to be
lot
fair,
happened.
but the most recent progression is that at the last day of his UK tour in London, day 1 of 3 in London, no, day 3 of 3 in London, the concert got shut down because they got like loads of people kind of forced their way in and stampeded, broke the door at O2 Brixton, which is around the corner from the police station.
Oh my God.
So not smart. And yeah, there was some people got trampled on.
Trampled?
Quite a few people got injured. 4 people were in critical condition in hospital, and unfortunately 2 of them have passed away.
Yes.
One of them being a mother of 3. No, a mother of 2.
A mother of 2 at the age of 33. And another one being a
was
security
23
guard.
She was like an agency worker. She was just doing a shift. She didn't even really work there. Yeah.
Oh.
Very, very, very unfortunate.
Oh,
big
my
shame,
goodness.
because the deaths very much could have been avoided.
So was that because of like the security people? Because obviously people are obviously gonna blame him, the artist, because you have to pick someone.
If I had to point the finger, I'd definitely say it was the security/hospitality team at O2 Brixton, because they were letting people in without scanning their tickets.
Oh my God.
On day 1 and day 2 and day 3 before this whole thing happened. So people had made up their minds that, you know,
you can get in.
You can get in without a ticket, or I can get in with the screenshot of my friend's ticket. So loads of people had the same idea. And that's what caused
very foolish.
More people to come than
I've actually worked in like stadium security. This was in my days of where I was a pauper. I was literally living by bread. I used to work as a security person, and it's so important that you actually have like you actually get a good company, not one of those up and starting ones, especially if on day 1, if you've seen that the crowd are unruly. Get proper people that are going to come in and check absolutely everything. Imagine such a horrible tragedy. Is this in the news? I didn't.
Today there's a hearing at the licensing committee to see whether the O2 Brixton's entertainment license should be revoked.
Whoa, wow, that's serious.
So can you imagine? Oh, continue, sorry.
I think it's the first time that the BBC even reported on Ashake in any capacity, and obviously it's negative news.
And they're calling it obviously Ashake's concert, so that's obviously doing terrible things for his branding. But just imagine, I mean, I saw that, was it the Birmingham one that was terrible? The concert, apparently the Manchester one was dodgy. I was watching them. We have a mutual friend who documented it, and I love the way that she does reviews. Some of the backup dancers should have just stayed home.
Yeah, so the backup dancers in Birmingham were ridiculous, because they're completely different to the backup dancers in London and Manchester.
Maybe they were just finding like the IG babes that said they could dance. And then obviously you had the sound issues that was going on in different concerts.
There's things I want to say, but I can't say it because it's not even about what we talked about, Anna. It's like other stuff, because when you're talking about Birmingham and dancers, I was thinking about an event that I went to in October where I just thought, what's going on over here? The dancing isn't really...
Do I know about this event?
I think I told you about it when I came back from it. I don't
remember. But for me, it seems that when people are doing events, there's a lot, when it comes to planning, there's so much focus on like the artist and what's going on, but actually events are mainly production and event management. If those two aren't figured out, don't do yourself a favor. Artists stay at home, people stay at home. But yeah, people have been really showing their backsides, but it's a shame that people died to dance to JIREH or Sumba. Oh no. No, organized. This was disorganized. I am so sorry. Oh my God.
To be fair, like the whole tour was disorganized. Like I can't get into the nitty-gritty of it because it implicates some of my acquaintances. But yeah, the whole thing was just poorly organized. And obviously they've, polished a turd and made it look presentable, but underneath it was always a turd. Even though, like, the London concerts and Manchester concerts are deemed successful by the wider public, in terms of project management terms and organization terms, it was just a pile of poo. So, yes, there's my comments.
I think this points to the bigger thing of like, I don't know what happens when like crowds of people get together over music, especially, and like sports, people don't know how to behave. It's like they check their common sense
altogether.
But I feel like stuff like this typically only happens at like, okay, maybe it's because I'm in an echo chamber where a lot of people around me listen to Black artists, and so you hear like horrible stories about all of their concerts and what's going on. No, put that fist down. Now is not the time to raise it. Dr. Umar is somewhere shivering, shivering in that shirt he likes to wear. But yeah, no, because yeah, let me not say too much. Yeah, I hope they rest in peace, and I hope they knew Jesus Christ, because that is such a sad way to go, especially if you have kids and people at home that like that need you and stuff.
2 boys, I think it's 2 boys that she had, the woman, the mother anyway. Yeah. Obviously now going to grow up without their mum.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, someone tweeted that as a like 33-year-old mother of 2, like, why are you in those circles? You were really overindulging.
So you can't enjoy music because you're 33. What kind of life are we living?
Apparently so. You should stay indoors, close your blinds, lock everything, sit in the dark until the 20-year-olds tell you to come out of the house.
Yeah, no, people need to stop. There's some things aren't for teacher moments. Like, you don't now need to be like, oh, use this as a PSA not to do, sit down. Yeah. Now is not the time, read the room. And also that person who was just working, trying to make a living. No.
Exactly. You have to say to them as well.
Yeah, this is so like sad.
Yeah, we pray for strength for their families, their loved ones. Yeah, especially the people that mattered to them, because it's a sad loss. And obviously you go to a concert to enjoy yourself, and then you don't expect that to happen on your travels and your journey. So yeah, but moving on, since no one's asked me where I've been.
Where have you been, JIREH?
Where have you been?
No,
I have been working. Yeah, work is ramped up. I'm doing like mileage on the dash, just driving to bare different places.
Yeah, he was in Scotland, y'all, a whole different country.
And then he went to Leeds.
Leeds, yeah. Traveling down south as well. But yeah, since the last recording, I've also been on my honeymoon, on holiday for my birthday, which all 3 of us were there. So, Sicily, you know what I'm saying? We're all 1 year older.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Anna's birthday was on Monday. Yep, Monday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thanks.
Oh my God. I didn't know. Sorry, we should have discussed this before. Oh my goodness, ma'am.
Sorry, I sneezed. So I just needed to make sure everything was clear.
Yeah. What else have I been doing? I've been in the gym early in the mornings on a good weight loss.
Yeah, he goes at 5 a.m.
It's been great for the weight loss. After the honeymoon, when I did a lot of eating and drinking, I said, "Whoa, gee, this belly, you can't be doing uncle.
Operation Belly must go.
You can't be doing uncle so early. It's impossible." So yeah, I've been doing that. Yeah, I can't even really remember what else. My hair's different. Obviously, if you watch this on YouTube, Anna's suggesting I should get my ears pierced. So
Anna did not suggest it. I have to say, JIREH's been telling us up and down that he wants to be a bad boy. He wants to be a Christian bad boy. He wants to get a camel coat and one of those ankle boots. And
camel? No, stop. Don't make me sick.
Camel. One of those turtlenecks.
Nope. I have a turtleneck.
And carry an empty briefcase and tell people how to make money. He says that's what he wants to do.
Anyways, these lies and allegations will not be
unfounded.
Yeah. But if you want to give me donations, I'm accepting donations. But I'll throw it back to Aramide to kick us off in this episode. I believe we're on episode 58.
Honestly, let's just start. This is season 2. Okay. Yeah. This is season 2. So I have, because I've not been on the internet, everything is a bit slower arriving at my doorstep. So I was listening to another podcast and they played a video of formerly known as Mrs. Jaxn, cursing upon the enemies. Guys, if you're laughing, technically that could apply to you. Saying that those who are making a mockery, I'm going to give context in a bit, but those who are making a mockery of her marriage, their wombs will dry up. Their seed will become vagabonds. Everything they basically lay their hands upon shall fall to ashes and dust. Anyone who is laughing, who is mocking her marriage and her her marriage, basically, like, they're gonna become unfortunate. Basically, and nothing good will ever come out of them. And obviously she ended that in the name of Jesus, which I'm sure was a joke. But what I find so funny is that her husband is the one that's been making a mockery of her marriage. So in line of those who will receive such blessings, he's already there. He's there with open arms. So if you don't know, about a year ago or 2 years ago, I didn't know who this man was. But there's something very funny about men who sit in their cars and tell women that they deserve better that I don't like. So he's so backstory, Derrick Jaxn is like a social media individual who has a big following of mainly Black single women. And he basically talks to them about relationships, how to prepare for relationships, telling them that they deserve better, telling men that they're dogs and they need to do better. He's written some publications, including, single mothers are only for grown men, and all these other things to basically, I'm going to find all of that out in a second. So essentially encourage women to date better. But then later on, people found out that he has clients. So he coaches these women. And we found out he coaches them physically also because he was sleeping with one of them. And then he decided to go on the internet clutching his wife's hand. I'm sure he was doing it to stop himself from escaping. Basically talking in third person and said, I cheated on these women.
That looks like a hostage situation.
It absolutely was. And he basically talked in third person and said, I was in a physical relationship with these women and we had sex and more. And he then went us to tell us about how he cheated on his wife and how they're putting up a united front. And apparently recently he divorced her. So that's the summary of Derrick Jaxn and his wife, Denia Jaxn, the cursed woman.
So, but it's funny because he married a bad bee and divorced a nun.
He ate all the vitality, the way you eat a mango and you leave it,
sucked it right up,
and all you have is the seed.
He took all the sauce. He took all the sauce and he left the burnt bottom.
He made her a long-suffering wife. A long-suffering wife, and not in a good way. Do tell us, JIREH, because he likes to talk to men about how they should do better and how women shouldn't date dogs. How do you feel this represents the Black male image?
Hey, yo, what? It's funny because I've never actually listened to any of his stuff. It's weird because if he's speaking to men, why is it that Black women are the ones who are listening to him or jumping on his platform to bolster him and lift him up? Because I've never once thought, oh, let me go and listen to someone like him, a man that sat in his car filming himself, shouting essentially at the camera about what a man should do when, one, we're not a monolith, especially Black men, we're not a monolith. So there's lots of things that are different between us. Their environment is different. How we interact with people or the people around us is different. If I wanted relationship advice, I'd most likely go to. I mean, he would point himself to be Christian, but as a man to a man, when you look at him, you're saying this guy, he's got that dog. He's got that dog. So I can't listen to what he said, because if I listen to him, I'm gonna get in trouble, and I don't want that. So you go to the seasoned people. Generally, you just tend to go to much older people who've been married for a long time, who have sound advice. Not the people who have been. How long was he married for? Maybe like 5 to 10 years.
I don't think it was that.
Yeah. If that.
What?
And he has a lot. And he has a lot to say. Now, I'm not saying there's not people who are well versed in this who haven't been married for a long time, because there's people who make it their lives to obviously learn about relationships, talk about it and whatnot, write about it. It just seemed like he was a bit gung-ho, like he was essentially telling people what to do, but not doing it himself because, you know, he was guilty of it. So he was preaching, but not adhering to his own words.
He has 2 books written.
2 books. Okay.
Well, these ones, I think he should have taken his own lessons, called A Cheating Man's Heart.
I think he was talking about himself.
Yep, and then he has a second book called A Cheating Man's Heart 2.
Oh, so it was still going on. He said,
I don't know. It's just like him journaling.
Yeah, honey, if you don't understand
he has
what's going
books
on.
about affirmations. One's called I Still Deserve It. Another, I Still Want It. Another called I Have Come Too Far. 31 daily affirmations. Things she wished he understood. Not cheating on her apparently isn't one of them. Healed together without hurting each other. A walk in my stiletto is 111 affirmations. I'm guessing this is for women.
Yeah.
Who is publishing these books? But continue, JIREH.
My question is, what is it about Black women that they want to listen to him?
I think it's because Black women like spaces where they're being like empowered or being told that they deserve better. Because most of the time they're being told that they deserve less, or they're being treated that way, or they find themselves in spaces where they're made to feel that way. So when you find, I don't know, these spaces and small communities and echo chambers where you're being told you deserve the best, and this is how you get a high value man that deserves you, and this is how you get a man that will stay by your side and not cheat on you with a white woman, you know? Like,
not the home wreckers.
Like, if you're desperate and you're in those kind of circles, I mean, YouTube is free. You can just click right on that and just listen to someone who's actually affirming you. So you think, a Black man with a Black wife.
I should also say, with a Black wife, that's also hench. I think he is. No, I would say by society standards.
She's hench.
No, he's hench.
Oh,
did you not see that V-neck in that video where he was confessing his sins?
I get that he's hench.
I thought you said she's
hench.
Oh,
said,
no,
wow,
no. Oh, sorry, he. And I think, like, especially someone who's quote unquote conventionally attractive as well. So it's kind of like, because obviously, like, if you kind of, I feel like most women kind of want the same thing. You want someone that's like nice and attractive and all of that stuff. So if there's such a man who is conventionally attractive, who claims to be Christian, who is also married, and who's sitting in his car and telling you about, actually, this is how you can get a man like me who is faithful and loyal and all these other things. When you're listening to it, you don't feel like you're just watching content. You might just feel like, actually, this person is genuinely there to help me to get this kind of man that I want. But clearly what he was portraying on the outside is very different to what was going on the inside. And it's like, when your ego overtakes you, then you actually don't know how to behave.
Yeah. And again, I feel like it's the same as, you know, kind of like the unique situation, let's say someone like a pastor's in, where they have these people who are vulnerable, who are coming to you for help, for coaching, because they want to be better and do better. And then you're kind of using these circumstances to create intimacy, or a false sense of intimacy with these people, and kind of trick them into loving you. Or falling in love with you, and then that's how you just end up with all these concubines.
Yeah. By the way, I've managed to fish out the video of Mrs. Jaxn, formerly known as Mrs. Jaxn.
Oh, Mrs. Jaxn.
I am for real. So I'm just gonna put it up to the mic so that you can hear what I heard And get ready, if you don't believe in Jesus, good luck. If you do, you know there's healing and deliverance after this. So I'm going to play it.
Person speaking against the names Derrick Jaxn and JIREH Jaxn in mockery, accusations, slanders, and lies. May the mercies of God be withdrawn from you. May your husbands and wives become widows. Let your children become fatherless. Let your seed become vagabonds on the earth. Let the words of your mouth and your words of your hands be returned back to you. Let it go down your throat and choke you slowly until your days become few on the earth. The word of God says, touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm. You've been warned. And if you want to know where that is at in the Bible, go to Psalm 109. Go to Psalm 35, go to Psalm 140, go to Psalm 141, and keep our names out of your mouth. In the name of Jesus.
Question though, like, what's the difference between what she's saying and then what I guess the Israelites needed to do to their opponents in the Old Testament? I can't hear you. You sound a bit low.
I said we're not doing Bible study.
Oh.
It's a valid question though, but I feel like, first of all, we're not living under that covenant no more.
No way.
So we don't do that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Because
Love God, love people.
When Samson had all the strength to go destroy
and that was also
bloodlines
in
and
the Old
people.
Testament.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you know, because she's operating from an Old Testament kind of vibe. So yeah,
it's like, oh no, baby, what is you doing?
But what I did find out after I watched this, because I said, surely a woman of God should know more, should know better, is that she has master classes, essentially like a Bible study group where she supports women, and it's not free. You have to pay for this. And some of the Bible studies that they do, one of them is called Why We Should Dress Modestly, which I think is good. You know, and then another one is, why would God call you to an adulterous marriage? Will God release you from adulterous marriage? And so on and so forth. And I think when you're going through trauma, I can get, you know, why you want to monetize it. I can get why you want to monetize it or make it your identity or kind of be like, this is my brand, you know, the woman that's been cheated on by Derrick Jaxn. But surely you're made for more than that.
Surely you want more for yourself.
Surely
and
you
God
want more
wants
for yourself. Surely you want to step away, because I'm sure this man is not going to stop. Perpetrators rarely do. He's not going to stop doing these videos. You know,
saying he's a criminal. He's a criminal.
He's broken the covenant of his marriage. What do we call these people? Criminals. You're going to jail.
Criminal.
Yeah. But to make that your identity, but then to then go on the internet and curse people, when I think a few days after this, he himself announced that
divorce.
Exactly. So it must have been going on in the background. It wasn't sudden. I'm sure he didn't just roll over and said, babe, we're not doing this no more. And then he just packed his load and went. But I think it's really, really sad because she only came into the limelight after he was gripping her hand in that video so tight and saying, I have cheated and we're staying together. And now, I don't want to be mean, but she's making an image of herself. And surely God has made her for more. Because now people aren't seeing her as a victim. They're now seeing her as, that crazy lady. Or, yeah. I don't know if it's just me, but it really broke my heart.
But I feel like she needs to get up and go. Like, do you know what I mean? She needs to climb out of that pit.
She needs to unplug the Wi-Fi.
You know I mean? Yeah, she needs to just. Yeah, I think with the right kind of people around her, she can really turn this around. Like, she can really just become like that girl and just walk in purpose for herself and just be a bad bee. What can I say? But it just really depends on how she takes this on, because I really think she can translate it into something beneficial for her and just be
so
her
what you're
best
saying,
self.
she needs a PR team around her.
Yes.
No, I'm saying she needs better friends.
No, I'm hearing PR team. Like, how can we spin this into
I mean,
No.
it's
monetization?
okay if you want to spin it because, you're now left basically like with or without the husband that you were fighting to kind of stay with. And, if he's going to make money lying and telling women, this is how to get a high value man or a man of God who's going to stay and not cheat on you when he's doing the cheating. I don't think there's anything wrong with her also picking up her mantle and trying her best. But I think the reactions that the internet isn't real in terms of like the people that are going to see your videos, they're going to see it and then walk away. It's not a place where people are there to kind of like care for you. It's not a place for accountability as far as I'm concerned. That happens more in a community level. It's not a place for healing. That happens more at a community level. And to kind of put your pain out there, do you know how many videos there are of her, people talking about her? We're talking about her. This doesn't happen on the internet. The healing happens in a community level, in your church, in your home groups, with your family, with your friends, people that know your name, that can call you and be like, sis, what's going on? Not people just, you just cursing people that are mocking your family when your husband has made a mockery of you and your marriage.
I think what the killer blow to her is he left her for someone who she used to be. So he changed her to be more modest and whatnot. And then he left her for someone who was completely...
She was what she was, yeah.
Yeah, who she was before. So it's just like a slap in the face. Like, he might just do that to his new wife as well, which tells me that he has an issue of just commitment altogether.
What if he has a type? Because people like to say, that's my type. Your type might land you in jail, but people like to say, that's my type.
But so that's why I'm saying she needs like better like friends. Like she needs people around her who knew who she was before she let someone print an identity on her. Like she let her husband print an identity on her that wasn't her. And so therefore she felt like she needed to live in that identity of Denia Jaxn. So when she felt like she was losing that identity, all she could do was curse everyone else around her. Do you know what I mean? Because I felt like when she put that video out, it was too close to when he made that announcement that it was probably her reaction to impeding divorce. Like, look at what all you guys have said and done to make me lose that identity of Denia Jaxn. Let it be on your heads and your households and your generations to come. Do you know? So
yeah, I believe her identity is probably attached to his success and what he does rather than her ownness.
But guys, we didn't know who she was though until the cheating started. Like, she wasn't on the internet.
She could have been in other circles in America that we just didn't know about.
True.
Which is not hard to believe if your partner is already someone who's prominent in certain circles and communities.
Yeah, and he was a big he was a prominent relationship coach in some circles, and he did talk about his wife.
Oh, I didn't know
stuff
that.
like that. Yeah. So.
To be honest, I thought he was just one of those people that just talked and like sat in their cars and talked. You know, when you go on Facebook and you see people like complaining about the government and stuff, and they do it in the privacy of their homes.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that apparently he was on a podcast with Charlemagne.
Yeah, he had a following. I
didn't know that until today.
Yeah, he had a following because I think I went to his Instagram once and seen how many followers he had.
Checking the numbers, yeah.
Yeah, I said, oh, wow, okay. He's like, but because America's such a big place, so we're not even privy to everyone prominent in America unless they even go past that barrier. So they have to be like on British, international kind of streaming services or in our face. Yeah, because like I'm on YouTube and I only get really like the Breakfast Club, but I know there's so many other like Black radio stations out there in America. So yeah, but my thing is that obviously those two were married. Obviously when you get married, two become one. But that doesn't change I wouldn't call it independent, but your interpersonal development that you both have. And it's like she just forsake that interpersonal development and just try to, I won't call it leeching, but just try to attach herself to him and then hope for that marriage to last based on his commitment. It seemed like he didn't even have a commitment to God, never mind to her. which is already a big error. So yeah, I mean,
But you live and you
obviously
learn.
people have.
I said you live and you learn.
Yeah. I mean, people cheat in marriages and relationships. Some people go separate ways, some people stay. It all depends on how you work that out.
You know what? I was listening to, like, I think a Bumble podcast, I can't remember. And one of the ladies on there was saying that she believes that we're in a generation where people don't do, you know how like people have like their grandparents were together for like 40, 50, 60 years. She doesn't believe that we're in that generation anymore. And I think that's the way that, I can't just say, oh, that's one person's school of thought, but I think that's what we're seeing more, where people are like, okay, we might have a solid 10 years together in marriage. And that's it. Once those 10 years are done, you kind of move on to the next person. So rather than spending like the rest of your life with one person, what's kind of showing now is now like you spend different times with different people, and it might just be 20 good years, and then that's it, 4 good years, and that's it, and then you move on to the next person. But I guess from your standpoint, do you realistically think this one, I mean, I believe as a Christian, but in terms of in reality that we live in, is this kind of idea of one person that you marry to for the rest of your life, is that actually being acted out, or are we kind of changing the way that relationships are done?
I think it's definitely not being acted out. I think we are a generation of less resilience, and we are redefining what it means to be married, which is not biblical. Like, people are just like, oh, you are a seasonal partner I can have for 10 years. And once we grow and graduate past each other, like, we can end it here. But that's not what marriage is. So if you want that, then you don't need to get married to them. You guys can just like
Rehabit.
That reminds me of one of the twins from, is it Sister Sister? The show, the black show, yeah. Tamari, something with.
Oh, is she the one that said, I think she graduated or something? Like,
yeah.
I think
Tia.
She said her marriage was a success, even though she divorced, she graduated. I think she said she grew past that. I said, your marriage failed. Like, if you get divorced, it means it's a fail. You don't need to repackage it or trying to make it look nicer or more palatable, because if this is what you're telling yourself, that's fine, but you don't need to put that out there to the masses for people to believe it when it's not true. Marriage is a lifelong covenant. And the problem is people now see marriage the same way as they do just a general relationship. And
a lot of people, there's no difference.
Exactly. And they don't realize that there is actual work. So it's work together, work individually, and people aren't willing to put in the work. So if you're not willing to do that, then there's actually no point of getting married at all, to be honest.
I'm sorry, you sounded a bit like Kim there for a second. People don't want to work. People don't want to work.
But it's true, because the people they want to wake up every day and say, I'm in love, I'm in love. Listen, there's days that you're going to wake up and you think,
it's hard doing life with someone that isn't
you.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard with you.
Yeah.
You know when Kelly said in The Office, I'm hard to manage.
Yeah. And it's just like, if people want to, especially Christians, if you want to get back to the fact that, you know, the people in your community who have long marriages will, if you ask them like how they do it, they always talk about working together. Like, they don't say, oh, love. But like, if you go and speak to old elderly people, will they tell you love? Rarely. Either of them will start with love. They'll just say that it's actual work. But you, in your youth and I guess your naivety and what we hear on social media and people around us will tell us, oh, it's all about love. It's all about love. It's all about love. Uh-huh. Do you even love yourself?
Do you love God?
How
about that? Look at you, preacher. Preacher.
It's just that, and I guess that moves me on to like just what, like, relationships and Christians and like social media. Because
I think we need to step back a bit. Okay. Let's talk about fraud. Let's talk about fraudsters. Let's talk about the impersonators in our communities. Let's talk about the cloak and dagger, the people that are hiding. Let's talk about the people who are fronting, but their life is a mess. Let's talk about the people that have multiple cupboards in their cupboards. And in those, there are multiples. It's like a Russian nesting doll.
Well,
It's dysfunction. Let's talk about that.
Go
Because
ahead.
it pervades more than relationships.
Mm.
The people that it's okay to live within your means.
Mm.
It's okay. The people that are doing PR relationships, the people that are saying, oh, Jesus is Lord, but they have all sorts of demons and things that they're worshiping. The people
Beyonce.
that, okay. So when I say in our communities, I don't include her. I think she's elsewhere. Her universe is different from the one that we live in. But basically, people who are perpetrating as if their life is one way when it's truly not another. Let's start with relationships. JIREH, continue.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, just it's like when you go on social media, obviously people portray what they want to portray. They always put their best foot forward.
Mhm.
But I was talking to ARAMIDE about this earlier, and I have a sense that it's like there's always obviously wanting to show your highlights, but I am so sure there's people who are purposely being deceptive in what they want to portray.
Can you
It's
give
like they
us an
want people.
example?
I give an example. Oh, I'm trying to think. Obviously Derrick Jaxn's an obvious one. In the manner that he talks, the manner he carries himself and portrays himself, he wants people to buy into him. And I mean specifically him, not even his marriage. So it would make people believe in him and actually want him as an individual and as a person. And I think he kind of likes that kind of stuff. So there'll be people who are in relationships, and the good things that they do for their woman or man is almost like an advertisement to potential other suitors once they break up with other people,
Whoa.
which is weird, isn't it? If you because you're just thinking, oh, they're doing something good for their man or woman.
It's like, what? This is what I could do for you.
Yeah, but
She was like, this
it's
could be
actually like
you.
this could be you, and this is how they're carrying themselves. And obviously, people are like, oh, this is just high speculation, or you're projecting, or you're just making it up. And I'm thinking, but no, because how many celebrities, how many high profile Christians do you see that are, one, if they're doing something very public, it's because they've done something incredibly bad and they need to cover it up somehow with another public display of affection. And two, if no one ever knows that you did these things, would you still be happy in your relationship? If there was no pictures, if there's no videos of you doing it, like, would you die, or would your relationship now suddenly end? I understand that there's people who are content creators that create content for the gram and whatnot. I'm not even like talking about them. I'm mostly talking about people who are going out of their way, I guess, or everything they ever talk about is relationships and just relationships alone. Yeah, what's your thought on that?
You know who comes to mind for some reason? That PT that stole money from that girl.
Is that Moses London?
No, it's Michael London or Michael Modern.
Michael
Is it
Modern.
Michael Modern?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that was
No, but there's
ages ago.
another one called Moses something on TikTok that did the
Moses
same thing.
London.
Why is it all those people that have biblical names that are doing the worst?
What is it with the
I know,
LD
it's
and
all
L?
people from your city, man. This is what we're talking about.
Whoa, relax.
She said not my postcode.
Yeah, no.
Because I guess
they're all Nigerian.
Well,
Well,
I think Michael Modern was Ghanaian, you know.
well.
yeah, he was. Because we're all
West
sitting
Africans
still.
unite.
Yeah, West Africans unite. But is even because I don't really follow him, I don't know the guy, but I've seen him like on Twitter, and he seems to be someone who was kind of known and in one way, shape, or form respected. But to steal from someone and use that money to buy followers, buy flowers for your girlfriend, have the nerve to book flights, have the nerve to even go to the hotel to try and check in. It's scary to me because it's so obvious, it's so blatant, it's not even hidden. And I think there are a lot of people who, maybe because of reputations that they've had in the past, or like the way people perceive them, it kind of gives them this air of legitimacy. It's like, if you're well known by one or two other people, your face is recognizable. People would genuinely believe that what you have to say is true. And I remember reading some sort of research into why is it that people believe TikTokers, for example, Just because someone is talking enthusiastically, or because someone's shouting, or because they're showing passion, doesn't mean that what they're saying is legitimate. And it goes back to the relationship.
It's the same way that someone who has a good body, if they talk about gym stuff, even if they've actually never been in the gym, people
you think
are
they
more
know what they're
likely to
talking
believe them.
about?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember seeing this video of this woman ages ago on Twitter, and people kept telling her how ugly she was and how fat she was. And she was like, she's actually a PT. But because she didn't fit the quote unquote conventional attractiveness, people just didn't believe that anything that she did was legitimate. But once again, people who are attractive, people who are known, if you have a bit, you know, if you have coins to rub together, when you portray a lifestyle, people are going to assume that what you're giving to them is real. What you're giving to them is actually representation of yourself, like a true representation of yourself. Same way, for example, set men of God will talk about marriage and relationships and how, you know, you need to do better, you need to pray, you need to have a dream to see who your wife is, but they stay cheating on theirs, or they stay being unfaithful on theirs. But people
Or
who
if
are
they
like,
offering sound biblical advice, you know.
you can be offering that as well, but also understand that as a Christian, we need to see the fruits. Remove talent, remove gifts. What are the fruits? And as a Christian, you should have the sense to step away if you're primarily teaching about something that you're not living out. It's like people who tell other people how to make money, but that's their job. They just tell people how to make money on the internet. But all of your money comes from that TikTok, those TikTok funds, from that YouTube AdSense. You don't actually have legitimate ways of making your own money. So why are you just going on the internet to give us principles when there's nothing backing it up? From a world point of view, that would be okay. But from a Christian point of view, you expect more. You expect better. I'm not going to be here and be like, oh, I'm absolutely perfect. I'm not. But if I know I'm genuinely struggling with something, I'm not going to come here and lie to you guys and be like, I've got it figured out. It's a lie. You're lying. You're a fraud.
Yeah, I know your opinions.
My opinions on we've touched on so many things. What are you asking?
When I was talking about, like, you know, portrayal of like relationships, but let's really focus on more Christian relationships, because relationships is probably just too general, and how they're portrayed, and whether there's an air of deception in there, which is weird to say because we wouldn't want Christians to be deceiving, but
I definitely feel like there's a lot of deception when it comes to the portrayal of Christian relationship, especially Christian relationship influencers, like people who've built their whole brand on being together. They portray certain aspects, or they portray certain parts of them that aren't entirely accurate, and they sell people dreams. And I don't think if you're going to brand yourself as a Christian relationship or influencer, relationship influencer, whatever you want to call yourself, I think you should pride yourself on being one of the most truthful people about relationships, marriages, and what you have to do, what you go through, and how to have resilience in a time when there is none. If you truly believe in biblical marriage, how does someone maintain a biblical marriage in a time when people don't even think people think it's impossible? In a time when biblical marriage is seen as impossible, how can you, a person of influence, show that it can be done without faking it? Because people are seeing all the romance and the dreamy side of it, and they're not seeing the other side. And now people are thinking, well, if my relationship doesn't look like that, then it means I can't be capable of having a long-term marriage or whatever. So I guess this is where we call it quits, you know? But then on the other end, I think Christian relationships are also portrayed as places where people stay and suffer. You know, like if things are happening to you, you're being abused mentally, physically, or in other ways, emotionally, people kind of make it seem like Christians force you to stay in a marriage no matter what because of the sanctity of marriage, which again is not true. Like people feel like it was this kind of hyper Christianity that kept Denia Jaxn where she was, but maybe she was just genuinely trying to fight for her marriage. And she was genuinely trying to forgive her husband for what he had done, even though he just wasn't a trustworthy person. Do you know what I mean? So it might not have necessarily been naivety. It might have just been, I'm willing to push through it no matter what. But again, there is a portrayal of Christians in relationships and their hyper-Christianity, meaning that they stay in places that, or situations that are abusive in the name of forgiveness, or in the name of God hates divorce, or in the name of, we're trying to make this work because I'm only to marry one person, which in a lot of cases is accurate. People do use the fact that you're only meant to marry one person and God hates divorce and all that kind of stuff to stay in situations that are literally physically harming them, or their children or people around them, which I don't think is safe at all. And we should not be, and when they ask for advice, people are telling them, yeah, God said forgive, and we should not, I don't think we should ever use the Bible to keep people in harmful situations that they can easily get out of. Like, I think that's just like, I don't get it. Like, that's just dumb. I'm not saying we should force people to divorce, but there are other solutions to problems. You can separate, you can get a restraining order on your husband. Like, there are ways to go about it. I don't know, but I'd just say, like, in terms of perception, those are the two main perceptions I see of Christian relationships. Is either this hyper-Christianity, where people kind of portray this perfect version of the relationship, or there is this like version where people are like, blink twice if you want to get out.
Yeah, I guess we should put out a disclaimer that, we're not against relationships. We're not against people showing off their partners or enjoying things with their partners and wanting the world to know. We're just, I guess, specifically talking about people who are preaching in a manner that is not befitting of their life,
And I think, if we're talking to Christians here who are consuming content, right? It's really important that you don't just have this mindless, I'm just taking this in, mindless scrolling attitude towards relationships, faith, whatever it is that you're consuming online. If you genuinely want advice about what it's like to maintain lifelong friendships, lifelong relationships, excel in your career, actually look to the people around you. Because no matter how much advice someone is going to give to you, your relationship is going to be different from theirs. There's no like for like. There never is, and there never will be. And so you have to take principles and not particulars. You can be like, okay, maybe this is the way that we might want to address things in our home, right? On a principle basis, but not on the particular basis, because you two are two individuals and you're going to be different from every other individual. But I feel like sometimes people, especially like when it comes to the topic of relationships, Christians just want someone to tell them that everything's going to be okay. Do 1 + 1 is always going to be 2, and do this and do that, you're going to be fine. It's okay. Like, you actually have like a, what's it called, free will. You can actually use wisdom. You can decide and make decisions based on principles, yes, but make decisions for yourself. But also,
side note question, do you think you can take relationship advice from someone who's never been in one or dated?
I think you can take principles. You can take, like, so for example, there used to be a time when I used to be I used to have some heightened emotions. Some people might call it anger, rage. I don't know, being unruly, difficult to deal with. I don't know what they're talking about.
Oh, what a shocker. I couldn't imagine.
I know, right? And it was during that time that one of my friends kind of spoke to me about, like, not always taking things to heart, always thinking about, seeing things from the other person's point of view. That might seem like a really small thing. It's a very small principle. Just think about, like, don't just see things through your eyes, but try to see through someone else's eyes and try to understand them from that point of view. But that's dramatically changed the way that I navigate my relationships, right? And that benefited me when I was in a relationship. And so when you kind of thinking it in that way, like, those are certain principles that you need for any relationship. Okay, some aspects that are more kind of focused on maybe marriage, you might not be able to get from a single friend, but still, a single person can still experience a certain level of intimacy and a certain level of closeness in their friendships that they can then advise you on. That part can't change, especially if you have like a very Christian question or dilemma. You can give a biblical answer to it based on principles, right? But a married person might be able to give you more directional steps on like, you can do this, you can do that. Yeah.
But yeah, to answer that question as well, like I think like some of your single friends might just be very wise. They've absorbed life experiences and the experiences of their friends and people around them, and been able to make good general conclusions about the world and how it works. So even though they're not in that specific situations, they're able to give some form of good advice on the general gist of a situation that you may be going through, like as a married person. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, they might not be able to give you the practical steps, or this is what I did when it happened to me, or da. But I think some people have just absorbed enough experiences, like as a person. It's just like when like a single friend gives you like, we give someone really good relationship advice, even though they're not in a relationship, and you're just like, yeah, I've just spoken to enough like people in relationships and watched it and absorbed media and listened to podcasts and read enough to have some form of holistic picture of how I would go about a situation like this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, the problem is the consuming of content, the reading of it, and actually doing it are completely different, because how someone wants to apply it when they're in a relationship, that's different from A to Z, because I'm so sure so many people know a lot. They definitely know a lot. But the application of it, like when you're in a relationship, it actually exposes a lot of your different characters and flaws that you just did not know that you had before.
Sometimes you're the one in the wrong.
Yeah. Sometimes
you're the bad person. You're the problem.
You don't even know it, because when you're single, no one's coming to bother you. No one's coming to disturb your peace. Your personality can be quite what's the word I'm looking for?
Abrasive? Untested?
No, not even that. Your personality can be quite constant, because there is no ups and downs of high emotional states, unless obviously your friends are hella toxic. Then run immediately.
Run fast, run far.
Yeah, but when you're in a relationship, there's just different sides to you that you just don't see. So advice obviously is great, but a practical application of what you would do in that situation, you find yourself to do something completely different. But yeah, I think I'll just park that there. It's nearly Christmas, so some of us have got some Christmas preparations.
I've not done my Christmas shopping.
I had my wife do it today, so so yeah.
Must be nice.
I have nothing to say to that.
Yeah, honestly, no words.
I'm thinking about who I'm gonna have to fight when I get to the Ghanaian shop to buy the yam, like to buy the malt. I don't know.
I have super malt in my kitchen right now.
Super malt? You know what? I'd never really liked malt until this year. I found a particular brand. I just thought, you know what? It's less than £1. Let me treat myself. Cost of living crisis. Put it in there. And I had it and I said, wow, this is fantastic. And it wasn't super malt. It was a different brand. So try other brands that aren't, the original super malt.
No, I only drink super malt. That's the only one.
Do you want to be trying at this time?
No, exactly.
It's just the time of year to be trying.
You said you don't have money.
We don't have money for that.
You want something tried and tested.
Exactly, something that works. But yeah, anything else from you guys before we sign out?
Stay safe. Speak to your neighbors, especially those who are going to be alone. Your friends are going to be spending Christmas alone. Old people whose kids aren't near them. Check in on them.
Absolutely right. And if you can invite someone over for Christmas dinner, invite them over. Don't let them be lonely. And also, in these past 6 months, I'm not even.
I'm going to be benefiting from it.
Okay. I thought you were saying it like I'm at you. I was like, listen, I'm just letting the listeners know. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, what was I saying? And if there are any topics that have come up in your brain in the past 6 months, that you're like, oh, it would be nice if Second Nature did an episode on this, but they haven't done an episode in a while. Now you can message us and let us know what you want us to do an episode on.
Definitely.
And Yeah.
Some people have told me things in person. I've most definitely forgotten what you've said that we should cover. So you're gonna have to message me.
You know, one day we should do an
'Cause I'll just be like, oh
episode.
yeah, that's a good topic. I don't even write it down. If I haven't taken it on my phone and put it on my notes, best believe that
You don't have it.
that's gone.
That's
So
amazing.
You know
yeah,
what?
so
I
unless
think
you
we should do
force
one
me to
day.
take it down,
We should do one day where we go back on some of the old opinions that we've had and said, do we still hold these opinions?
That's a
Do you
good
still
one.
believe this, or have you changed?
what's
That'll
that?
be
That's like
interesting.
what, 2 years worth of opinions.
Oh, and I've had a
Yeah.
lot
We
There's
have
some
some
things that
COVID
I've
opinions
said
that might have changed, you know?
that I didn't know I said. And I'm like, oh my God, delete this off
Why
the
you
internet.
act like that?
Do you see how you act? Yeah, that would be fun.
Right,
True.
guys. This is where we sign out. Have a good Christmas. Merry Christmas, we'll say, not Happy Holidays. Donald Trump brought it back. Merry Christmas. Yeah, let's have a good one.
How is
Merry,
Donald Trump?
Merry Christmas. Remember, Jesus is the reason for the season. It's no
That's
one else.
right.
It's not Santa Claus. He doesn't exist. If you're listening to this and you still believe in him, change.
Stop putting Xmas.
Yeah,
It's
it's
Christmas.
not Xmas. It's Christmas. Jesus is the reason for the season.
That's a word.
Unto him a child is born, you know. That's why we've got our
Praise him.
salvation today. So
Mm.
this should be one of the biggest holidays for us, and including Easter as well. But yeah.
Hallelujah.
Right, guys. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Clear now, clear now, clear now, clear now. Yeah. Let's Ivy, clear now, clear now, clear now, clear now. Be seen now. The chorus man stay flying to a high place. I place my attention into the bright haze. Man playing tricks, I build a mind games. And I see the minds in the sky trying to pull me up from high range.